In this day and age, us software developers are pretty lucky. We got a ton of opportunities and a ton of options where to work, whether to work in a small or medium or large company, or whether we want to freelance. So many options, but they're for different types of people. Each job type requires a certain personality and risk tolerance. And to top it all off, coding and engineering skills can be learned in school, online courses, and YouTube videos, but consulting skills aren't really taught. They're learned. Folks, welcome back to another video. My name is Alex, and I've worked as a software engineer at large companies. I've also worked as a freelancer or independent contractor or consultant for the last 10 years. More on the differences about those in another video. And I've also worked at large companies as a consultant. There's a huge difference in responsibility between those types of positions. And there's a lot to unpack there, so it might take a few videos to share what I know about consulting with you. So in this video, I'll be discussing just the pros and cons of working as a software developer at a large company versus freelancing. The pay, the benefits, the freedom, and in future videos, I'll discuss further details on consulting and the soft skills. So consider subscribing to the channel. Oh, and if you find this topic interesting, tap on the thumbs up button right down there. I've been told that it helps my videos reach more people. You know, that YouTube algorithm thing. Thanks. All right, we'll start off with the pros of working at a big company. It's like a job. There's pretty much no risk that you have as an employee. You just show up from 9 to 5, get your regular paycheck, and that's all you have to do. You'll also get health insurance for you and your family, something that costs an arm and a leg if you live in the United States like I do. And if you don't have health insurance, it might even cost you a kidney. So having health insurance covered for you is a great thing. Number 2, large tech companies are stable. Chances are if they've got their own stock ticker, they're gonna be around for many years to come. It's also pretty likely that they'll have a lot of money, which could translate into you having a wider array of opportunities. You might have heard of the now famous 20% project at Google. That's an initiative that Google started where company employees are allocated 20% of their time to pursue their own personal projects. That's how Gmail was invented. Also, as a developer, you'll be able to climb the technical role ladder, or if you want to explore management, you'll have the opportunity to do that. I've had a few friends myself who switched from developer to manager because it felt better for them. Next, your work-life balance might be better when working for a large firm. There's usually a crisp and clear separation between work time and home time. Well, this line might have been blurred in the past year or so, but as we all get back into the office, that separation becomes clear. During the office hours, you're expected to be at the office, but during home hours, you have your family or free time. I know it's not always that simple, but believe me, compared to being an independent consultant, which I'll cover in a bit, it's way easier to maintain that separation here. Finally, you might get to work on some really huge projects, solving big problems with teams of engineers, and you can learn from those folks. You'll have opportunities to learn deep concepts in a particular area and gain that deep knowledge in the area that you're interested in. And as a bonus, you'll be working on these big problems with a team. That social interaction gets your mental juices flowing. It's also good for the brain, according to the book I'm reading right now. It's called Keep Sharp by Sanjay Gupta. I myself got to work on some software that allocated satellite bandwidth, and that's not something I'd ever get a random chance working on if I was freelancing. On the other hand, you might also get stuck writing COBOL code for the next 20 to 30 years. But hey, it'll be a stable job if that's what you're after.
There he goes picking on COBOL again.
All right, that's it for the pros, and I'm sure there's a ton more. If you know any more, let me know in the comments down below. Let's talk about some of the cons of working at a big tech company. There's gonna be some corporate politics. All right, a lot of us developers like programming. That's why we're in it. But some of us are there for the sole purpose of climbing the corporate ladder. Both are okay, but you have to know which one you are and whether or not you have what it takes to play the politics game. This was never a thing for me. What gave me satisfaction was getting to work and solving technical challenges. There are others who enjoy the political game, and if there's one piece of advice I can give, it's this. If you don't like politics, at least be friends with the people that do. And don't just fake it. Try to like those people. They have a different outlook than just purely techie folks do, and bring a valuable perspective as well. When I was younger, I did my best to stay away from political people. You know, the kinds of people that seem to walk around the office and know everything about everyone, but don't do any real work. These are the folks that are glue of a large company. There will be some bad apples, yes, and they'll do some trash talking behind your back. Can't really help that. But for the most part, these people are harmless. You might have heard of the term golden handcuffs. When a large company hires you, they go through a great expense to onboard you and pay your insurance. And they want to keep you as long as possible. And they do just barely enough to do so. Golden handcuffs are financial incentives given to employees to discourage them from leaving a company. Health insurance, gym membership, free parking, free lunches, free coffee. They'll give you a fancy title. You might get stocks in the company that you only fully get once you've been there a certain number of years. This is called vesting. And they provide all these things to make you feel like you have to stay. It's like you're wearing handcuffs and you can't leave. And the handcuffs are golden, well, because all these things are really great, aren't they? Somewhat. They sound great on the surface, but you give up a huge upside potential which you can obtain if you go out on your own. And having all these extras gives you second thoughts about leaving, but it also gives you second thoughts about asking for more pay. And large companies have a large set of employee data to analyze. They could optimize for giving employees just enough of a raise to keep them in place, but not too much so salaries eat into profits. It's all optimized, baby. All right, that rounds up some of the cons for working for big companies, and I'm sure there's more. Let me know in the comments if you think about some. Now, let's get into the pros and cons of freelancing. You might have heard of the words freelancer or independent contractor or consultant, all used interchangeably. However, there are some big differences between them, and they go along with what you do and how much you get paid. There's a direct correlation. I can go into the differences in another video. Just let me know in the comments down below if you're a freelancer and you want to know what these differences are. Now, what all these titles do have in common is that you're on your own and you have your clients. So that's what I'll cover here. All right, let's get down to business. The most important reason for being a freelancer is being able to work in your underwear. No, but seriously, it's the freedom you get, right? It's the freedom to control your own schedule, pick your own clients, take time off when you want to, in theory, at least. In reality, you'll almost always work too many hours and rarely take vacations. Speaking for myself, of course. More on that later. But the perceived freedom is the big draw here. You will set your own prices as well. When I left the office job and started contracting on my own, I more than doubled my annual earnings for the first year I did it, and my income kept increasing ever since then. There are 3 things you'll need to work on to grow as a freelancer: your skills, your network, and your reach. Luckily, all these things are somewhat related. As you grow your skills in a certain technology that interests you, you should blog about it, tweet about it, speak about it, teach it, and heck, even make YouTube videos about it. This will increase your reach, since you'll be reaching people that don't know you, but they'll hopefully reach back when they need help. I've been developing mobile apps for about 6 years now, specifically using NativeScript, the technology for developing cross-platform mobile apps. I've been blogging about it, teaching it, and doing speaking engagements related to NativeScript. As a result, now pretty much every week I have people reaching out to me for potential work. I also developed a network of other folks who are interested in this tech, and I can refer potential clients to them and them to me. That's how it works. And as a result, I rarely have any time when I'm not working on client projects. Usually it's when I want to take a break and I force myself not to take on any work. And since I'm referred a lot, I get to name my price as well. I'm not saying this to brag, but to show the potential of what happens when you're working as a consultant and you cast a wide net with things that I mentioned before. So that wraps up a couple of points that I wanted to mention about pros of freelancing or independent consulting, independent contracting, you know what I mean. Let's talk about some of the cons now. When first starting out as a freelancer, you might have the skills, but you might not have the network or reach. So there may be times when you're not working as you wait for a new client. Well, I mean, you're not working on a client project. You should always be working or doing something to build up your reach, as I mentioned before. But that's why I don't recommend quitting your job tomorrow and going out on your own. Do a few side gigs first while you keep your day job, and then when the big client comes along, then you give your boss the notice. Once you build up a couple of clients, things will smooth out because you'll charge appropriately, right? And you'll have enough financial runway so that you aren't starving during those times when you aren't working. A lot of people underprice themselves. Let me ask you, would you rather work 12 months for $100,000 or 6 months for $100,000? When you're a freelancer, there may be times when you don't have work, but hopefully you charged enough for your previous contract to hold you over through that time until you find your next client. You might be tempted to drop your rates when you don't have a client, but try not to do that. It'll only devalue you as a freelancer. You'll be working a lot more than a full-time job, at least initially. When I started out, I was working 80-hour weeks. Some of my friends were working 100-hour weeks, and I thought that they were crazy. I was afraid that if I didn't say yes, the opportunity would disappear. And sometimes that's the case. when you're starting out, nobody knows you. So you might have to work extra hard initially to get your name out there. Market yourself, write those blog posts, make those videos. This is much harder than a 9-to-5 job, but eventually you'll have the ability to dial it back and work as much as you want once you have a steady client base and maybe even passive income from other assets you've built while you were expanding your reach, like maybe you created videos or courses. But yeah, initially you'll be working a lot. When you're a freelancer, you don't have a guaranteed stable income. I'm not talking about clients that sometimes don't pay. There are ways to screen those kinds of clients, and I can go into that in another video. You might have a client that needs you to travel, or you might have a client that pays late or incrementally. You're responsible for buying your own health insurance, gym membership, equipment, your own lunch, your own coffee, and you don't get paid when you're on vacation, which is one of the reasons it's actually pretty difficult to take a vacation when you're on your own, like a real vacation, not the one where you bring your laptop and you're on the beach sitting and working all day. Although, that's nice too. So there you have it, folks. That concludes a couple of different points I wanted to make about the pros and cons of each, working at the big tech company versus freelancing or independent consulting. Hope this was helpful to you, and if you want to see more videos like this one, let me know down below. Ask specific questions if you want, and I'd appreciate you giving this video a thumbs up so it's discovered by other folks like you. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time.